Hello and welcome to Investigative Math. In this video, we'll be showing a little bit about how to make some basic programs and hopefully save you some time on your UIL tests. So, first thing you want to do is make a new page for your program. So I'm just going to type 1, and that'll set me to new. And I'm going to click 9 for Add Program Editor, and then 1 for New. So in this video, we'll be making a program, or a function rather, for the volume of a frustum. And this isn't really a complicated program, but it definitely can save you some time. I'm going to change this to function for a reason that I'll explain later in the video. And then as far as library access, you always want to set this to library public. Okay, so once you get to this screen, the first thing you want to do is define what variables you're going to need in order to solve your problems. So for finding the volume of a frustum, you need 3 things. You need the radius of the smaller circle, the radius of the bottom circle, and then you're going to need the height of the frustum. So I'm going to call these 3 variables R1, R2, and H. All right, once you do this, all you have to type out is the formula that you want to use to find the volume. If you didn't know, the volume of a frustum is 1/3 pi times H times R1 squared plus R1 times R2 plus R2 squared. So this will tell you the volume of your frustum. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to store this in a variable called v. So once we have this, we just want to return this variable, and by doing that, that'll display our answer and we'll be able to use it. So we are returning v. Okay, the last thing you need to do is if you have a function and you're using a variable that you haven't initialized up at the top here. So at the top, we've initialized R1, R2, and H. But these aren't all the variables we're using. We're also using V for the volume, for the final volume. So what we're going to do is type the word local. And then local basically means these variables exist within the program. So local, and then I'm going to type V because we need to initialize that variable so the function knows that we can use it. So local v, and then 1/3 pi h r1 squared plus r1 r2 plus r2 squared. That'll be stored as our volume, and then we just return that. So let's see if this works. So to do this, you just type menu, and then check syntax and store, and then check run. So press 3. So let's say our frustum has radii of 1 and 2, and then a height of 5. So 1, 2, 5. We get a volume of 35 pi over 3, or 36.65. And this is very useful, but if you have like different programs sort of scattered around your calculator, it's nice to be able to use all of them in one place. And I'll show you how to do that next. So the first thing you're going to want to do is save this in mylib. So we have all these settings, and this is actually the wrong place. So what you want to do is go to Control, and then this button right here is for Control Save. And it's going to open up this area where you can choose where to save your document. So I'm going to call this Geometry, because at least in my calculator, I have a section or a page where I type all of my geometry programs, and then they're all in the same place. So type Geometry, and I'm going to save it in mylib right here. So click on mylib, click save, and I've already done this, so I'm going to have to overwrite it. All right, so now it's saved. So now what I'm going to do is go back, and a lot of people, including myself, have a page that we usually work on. For me, I call the page UIL, just because that's what I use it for most of the time. So I'm going to create a new page. I'm going to add a calculator page, and I'm going to save it real quick, call it UIL. So menu 1, I'm going to save it and call it UIL. And this doesn't matter where you save this one. Just make sure you save the geometry one in mylib. So I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to refresh my libraries. So menu 1.7, refresh libraries. And I've actually forgotten to do something. This is very important, but this is still a necessary step. So I'm going to go back to geometry. And in order for me to access this from multiple places, I actually have to do a little thing right here. So click Menu, 1, and then at 8, you see comment/uncomment. I want you to comment, and then just type the name of your program. Basically, just copy and paste what you have up here. So first volume, R1, R2, and H. So we have this, and I'm going to make sure this still works just because it's good to test it. Yes, so we still get 35 pi over 3. And I'm going to save this. So I go back to UIL. Do you want to save changes to geometry? Yes, I do. Okay, now that I've done this, I'm going to refresh my libraries again. So menu 171. And it does it pretty quick because I'm on my computer. Your calculator will probably take a little bit longer. But what I do now, I go to Menu, Actions, Library again, and this time I'm going to go to 3 for Create Library Shortcut. So, once I do this, I am going to type first in quotes, which I do by clicking Control times. I type the name of my document. So in this case, it's geometry, because I'm trying to access my programs that are in my geometry program. So geometry, and then comma, and then I usually just do G, but you can actually do any letter here. So geometry, comma, G. So once I do this, you can see my first volume program comes up right here. And I can actually use this program now by typing G and then decimal. And as you can see, all of my programs in the geometry section will pop up. So I have thrust volume. And I can do my frustum with radius of 1 and 2 and a height of 5. And as you can see, I get 35 pi over 3. So this is pretty neat because that means that you can have programs in different places, and then at the end of the day, you don't have to go back into those folders to access the programs. This is a very quick way that hopefully can save you a lot of time. So I'm going to go back and explain why I made this program a function, because it's actually very useful. So let's say it's a calculator problem, and we have the volume, and we know it's 35 pi over 3, and we know that both the radii are 1 and 2, but we don't know the height. So normally, if you made this a program instead of a function, you would really just have to go back and you would just have to solve this question like normal. But what you can do, because this is a function, is you can put it inside of a solver. So I'm going to do menu 3.1 and then g dot thrust volume. And let's say I know the radii, but I don't know the height. So I say 1, 2, x, because that's my unknown, equals 35 pi divided by 3. If I do comma x, it will tell me my unknown. So I get a height of 5. And this will only work, I repeat, this will only work if you put it as a function. If you put it as a program, it'll be weird and it won't let you do it. I'm not entirely sure why, but it just won't let you do it. So if you're making a program like this, where you want to be able to solve for different parts of what you're doing, then always make it a function. So that's a little bit of basic programming. If you have any other questions, make sure to leave a comment and I'll make a video explaining a little bit about it. So with that said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. This has been Investigative Math, and I will see you next time.